Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe. Going to be talking about Chelsea's third kit being released, my reaction to it. Also, Thiago Silva, how Chelsea signed the defender this summer, and also Ethan Ampadu potentially going out on loan this week. But before we get into any of that, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also, hit that like button if you're enjoying the content because it helps out the channel as well. Let's firstly talk about the third kit that was officially released by the club today. We knew what it was going to look like. We knew it was the Crystal Palace kit. We'd sort of seen an official image from Nike last week. It got leaked on one of their websites and then quickly taken down. And to be honest, compared to the leaked images a few months ago that I reacted to on the channel, it isn't as dark a red as originally thought. It's closer to sort of orange, but I have some strong opinions about this kit. I know you guys have strong opinions about this kit. And on social media, it was pretty negative, the reaction. Firstly, I'm always surprised, and it does make me chuckle, the sort of the lingo and sort of description of these kits, PR type speak that's released with these kits. The tweet that accompanied Chelsea's third kit on the official Twitter account, this is what they had to say: meet a new legacy. The 2021 third kit is here, one for the sneakerheads, inspired by the 1990s Ultramarine Air Max 180 and classic shirts of the past. Firstly, I don't know what Nike trainers have to do with a Chelsea shirt. What relevance does that have to a club shirt? It makes no sense to me, to be honest. And also, it's the most obvious thing, and people have been talking about it today, but we've been speaking about it for months about this kit. It's the Crystal Palace kit, and Crystal Palace themselves have made a mockery out of it on social media from their official Twitter account. Why didn't anyone think of this when they were making this kit? I just don't know, when they're designing these kits. And Henry Winter made this brilliant point on his tweet regarding the kit. He said this: do kit designers consult fans? Which clearly they don't. I don't think they do in any major capacity, because this kit, to me, it just strikes, and I've seen so many kits recently. I think Wolves had one, Man United had one. Nothing really to do with the tradition of those clubs, especially regarding Chelsea. I don't know what this kit has to do with previous kits, to be honest, because we don't wear a lot of red in our kits. Red isn't really the majority colour, and really isn't the darkest red anyway. But to be honest, I think it's one of those cases to me where it's just so disappointing, where Nike have an opportunity potentially with a third kit where usually you see more of a unique design, to make something that just isn't relevant to Chelsea fans, isn't relevant to our history, will be mocked as the Crystal Palace kit. I know some people may see this as sort of one of those cult kits that maybe in 20 years time is worth a lot, and if we're successful this season, and happy days in that kit, and maybe we create some special memories in that kit. But I just think it's a really poor design. The amount of people who've sort of changed the design of the kit to like a black colour, to a yellow and a blue colour, which pays homage to a 1990s kit by Chelsea. It just bears no relevance to previous kits, and nostalgia sells big with football fans. Just look at the way the FA Cup anniversary kit from 1970 sold earlier in the year. That was an amazing kit. It sold so much for Chelsea fans. Fans who don't usually buy kits bought that shirt because of the nostalgia of it, because of the uniqueness of it. And there are so many kits for me, even in the recent 10-15 years, that I'd like to see updated by Nike. I think of the 04-05 away shirt, the white shirt with the design on it, the lines, I think they were sort of like darker blue and royal blue lines. I thought that was an amazing away kit. I don't know why Nike don't capitalize on that. I think sometimes they create these kits just to shock people rather than actually making a decent shirt that's very connected to the club. To me, when I see red as a majority colour on the shirt, I not only think of Crystal Palace, I think of Liverpool and Arsenal and Man United. I don't think of Chelsea. It's not even paying homage to the pensioners that sometimes we have on the shirt, but it's never a majority colour of Chelsea, and it's just really weird. I think they've got it really wrong on the kit. I know you guys will probably agree on this. I know there's been a lot of negative reaction to it, or do you disagree with me? Please let me know in the comments below on your reaction to Chelsea's third kit for the 2020-21 season. Next, we're going to move on to how Chelsea signed Thiago Silva. The inside story. I talked about the inside story on Kai Havertz. This has come out from Jason Burt in The Telegraph. As you can see here, how Chelsea signed Thiago Silva with a little help from Neymar. Despite Silva's age, the Chelsea hierarchy unanimously agreed to the free transfer from PSG. Apparently, Silva's agent intervened when he could have gone to Fiorentina, presenting an offer from Chelsea to Silva, who was intrigued by the notion of playing in a new league, despite turning 36 later this month. And then it goes on to say Silva had a meeting with Neymar, and Neymar Neymar convinced him to join Chelsea, thought it'd be a really good idea to join the club this summer and a good challenge for his career. And also, Willian had an influence over Silva's decision to join Chelsea. Apparently, he called the winger who was about to leave Chelsea and join Arsenal on a 3-year deal. News that Silva was on his way to Stamford Bridge elicited a joke from his international teammate: "If I'd known you were moving to Chelsea, I would have stayed there after all." But also talks about the popular perception of Thiago Silva as one of the most thoughtful, determined and well-liked players in world football. He does his research, he works hard, he looks after himself and he wants to win. And also the connection to Frank Lampard. Silva was also taken with the prospect of being coached by Lampard. He has a high regard for the former midfielder from his playing days. It's an intriguing article. I definitely suggest you go and read the full piece in the description box below. Interesting to hear Willian's influence, the fact that he of course has left Chelsea now to move to Arsenal. Of course, that connection to Thiago Silva and also Neymar, because I've spoken about this on the channel before. Chelsea trying to go into sign Neymar in 2013 from Santos. That deal at the time, the trouble with Chelsea's deal and why it eventually fell through and he went to Barcelona instead, I believe in 13 or 14. So Chelsea could have signed Neymar, and of course sliding doors, that could have been a different scenario. I think Thiago Silva comes across well from this piece, to be honest, and he comes across as a motivated individual. I mean, that is something I pointed out in the videos about Thiago Silva when he joined the club. I felt it was a pragmatic, opportunistic move by Chelsea, and potentially you've got a player who still wants to play in the World Cup in a couple of years' time for Brazil, captaining his country once again, and that's a motivating factor. I think with other players as well who are at a similar age, like Olivier Giroud still, there's going to be that motivational factor to play for the country. And I think Thiago Silva adding that maturity to Chelsea's backline is, I think, a big factor. I think the big question of the season is not only how he adapts to the pace of the Premier League, but also fitness-wise, playing week in, week out in a very intense league. And that is the big challenge for Chelsea, how he adapts to Chelsea's high line and very attacking play. But I still think this is a good signing in a difficult transfer window. And I think, especially in a key position that Chelsea had to strengthen, I think maybe they've signed the player they really need, which is a leader, a mature player, someone with game intelligence, danger awareness as well. Please let me know your opinions on the story of Thiago Silva signing for Chelsea in the comments below. And lastly, I just want to talk about Ethan Ampadu's potential loan move this week. This comes from a reliable Twitter account, Chelsea Youth. Definitely suggest you go and follow this account. He says, big week ahead for outgoing loanees Conor Gallagher and Ethan Ampadu. Conor Gallagher's loan move is yet to be confirmed, but Ethan Ampadu, I'm a bit torn on this because a loan move, I can see the positives of it, to be honest. If you've been watching the channel for a number of months, I've always praised Ethan Ampadu. I felt he could be a valuable member of the first team squad this year. The fact he continues to play for Wales, had a really good weekend once again playing for them. Ryan Giggs, even though Ethan Ampadu had such a difficult season getting regular playing time at Leipzig, is always a part of their squad. You could argue maybe the quality of, the Welsh team and sort of, Ethan Ampadu considering his quality, but he's always playing for that team and he's playing at centre-back. He's played in central midfield as well. I think that versatility for me was a big thing for Ethan Ampadu, not only at centre-back. I felt he could potentially mould into that role, get opportunities there for Frank Lampard, but also more in central midfield to me, that rotation with N'Golo Kante, the fitness issues of N'Golo Kante. I know midfield is a very stacked area for Chelsea, but just specifically a central defensive midfielder, a ball winner in that midfield. I think overall, maybe the club have looked at it and gone, we can keep Ethan Ampadu for a season, but he's not going to be first choice with N'Golo Kante fit and potentially Kovacic ahead of him as well in a very packed area of the squad for Chelsea. And for his development, it's not good if he's just sat on the bench all season. If N'Golo Kante, which is what we hope, has a really good season in terms of fitness, stays fit, he's not going to be playing that much, is he? And I think that's the concern. It's better for him to go to maybe a Premier League club. I've heard Sheffield United touted as well as Fulham in recent weeks. I think those are both real good loan moves for him to get substantial week in, week out games for his development. I do concern not only because of his place in the Wales national team, but a crossroads eventually down the road for Ethan Ampadu. Because I think I've answered a question about this before from you guys in added time, where I look at that area and I look at likes of Billy Gilmour, who will be coming back from injury in a couple months. And, I think there will come a time and place where Chelsea are going to have to decide if Ethan Ampadu is going to be a long-term player at Chelsea, or they may get a fee for him in a couple of years' time. I know he's still very young. I know he's still got a very bright future. But I just wonder, because of the lack of opportunities at Chelsea, not being in the first team, consistently being sent out on loan, things may change drastically in a year. A lot can happen in 12 months in football, as we know. But I just wonder as well with Ethan Ampadu, if it's a case of luck with getting into the Chelsea first team. I look at Mason Mount, Reece James, Tamori Abraham, They were very lucky in the sense that, of course, their quality and mentality meant they got opportunities, but just in the sense that Frank Lampard, the transfer ban, Ampadu really hasn't had that in his career. Conte was then going to play young players in his starting 11, even though he gave small opportunities to Ethan Ampadu. I believe Ampadu in his second season under Sarri was injured for a lot of the time, did get at least a couple of appearances, I believe one in the FA Cup, but was never a part of major plans, especially with Jorginho playing in the base of his midfield, and then of course left for Leipzig before Lampard arrived. So it's been difficult, and I just wonder if the luck's not on his side, even though Ampadu, to me, has always looked like a very impressive player, a very mature player at his age, could be a big player for Chelsea. Will that just end up being the end of him at Chelsea? I'm not entirely sure. Am I being too negative? Please let me know in the comments below on Ethan Ampadu's future. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. But that is it for this edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch it. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea. Have a great day, and I'll see you again.